Hello everyone, welcome to Marketing 452 International Marketing. This is a review for your first exam. Okay, your first exam, exam 1, will cover chapters 1 through 4, the first 4 chapters. In this review, I will go over all the major concepts, theories, definitions, and we have covered in the first 4 chapters, and highlight those that you need to pay particular attention to in preparing for your first exam. Okay, your first exam, which will open in a few days, will be all multiple choice questions. There will be 50 multiple choice questions. Okay. Once the exam starts on Blackboard, you have 48 hours to take and complete it. Okay, you have full 2 days, nights to complete it. But once you start, you cannot stop. You have to work continuously until you finish it. Right? And end of 48 hours, or end of the exam time. Exam time is 75 minutes, same as normal class time, and it will automatically submit. So make sure you finish all 50 questions in time. Okay, let's go over the key concepts, the theories we talk about in the last 4 chapters. Okay. First, we talk about the why companies seek global markets. Right? It's probably because of could be one reason is to react to inquiries from abroad. Okay, they want more sales and profits. There's no growth at home, but they have to go up abroad. Whereas the domestically competition is just too fierce. They want to expand to seek more opportunities, or they may want to follow their major customers abroad. That's why they want to go abroad. Okay, and also we talk about the economies of scale and the scope. Make sure you understand the definition of each and meaning of each and difference between the two. What is economies of scale? What is the economy of scope? Economy of scales basically means that the more you produce, the cheaper it is to produce. Right? The cost is cheaper. The cost economy. Okay? Economy of scale, the scope, on the other hand, means something different. It means that if you are good at doing something in one particular field, and you probably also be good at producing the something in a similar field, not a completely different field, but similar, related field. So you can increase your scope, by doing that, by diverging or expanding into related field. That's and achieve a saving or cost reduction. That's economies of scope. Okay. Then we talk about the development of global marketing, how global marketing for a company, specific company, evolves. They start with domestic marketing, and then they start to export to another country, and that's the export marketing. Then they export to more countries, right? It becomes international marketing. And then they set up operations in multiple foreign countries. That becomes multi-domestic marketing. And then they set up regional headquarters for certain regions of the world, and like North America, South America, and Europe, Asia, you know, um, Australia, etc. Okay, that becomes pan-regional marketing. And then if you have operations in major continents, major big market countries, and you have them, you have headquarters, operational units in all of them. They work together in sync. That's what we call the true global marketing. We talk about standardization versus adaptation. Standardized product versus adapted product. Okay. The reason for standardization because of similar tastes in diverse countries. There is an image, country of origin image that could be strengthened, and also because of skill economies in production, research and development, and marketing. And the word adaptation cost is just too high. Okay? Then why would you adapt? Right? The benefits of adaptation. Variation in consumer needs and condition of use, because then you have to adapt, right? Or because of variations in consumer income, ability to buy, you have to adapt. Or because there is a strong cultural difference affecting product and use, right? Difference in technical standards from different countries, and then therefore you must adapt. Okay? Difference in government regulations affecting the product. Okay? Then we talk about the global economy. Global economy. We talk about international trade, theories of trade, world trade, balance of payments, exchange rates, international agencies for promoting economic and monetary stability, protectionism, and trade restrictions. Okay? We talk about economic integration as a means of promoting trade and globalization controversies surrounding globalization. Basic theories of world trade is absolute advantage versus comparative advantage. Right? Absolute advantage versus comparative advantage. Competitive advantage. Also from the theory of competitive advantage, make sure you understand the four elements of production: labor, land, natural resources, and capital. Okay, that's the elements of production. For the theory of competitive advantage, it depends on the elements of production. It also depends on the nature of domestic demand. Okay? The presence of appropriate suppliers or related industries, the conditions in the country that govern how companies are created, organized, and managed, and the rivalry, domestic rivalry, the nature of that. Okay. Then we talk about the exchange rate. What is exchange rate? Exchange rate measures the value of one currency in terms of another currency. Okay, between U.S. dollars, British pound, or U.S. dollars, Canadian dollars, or U.S. dollars, European euros, or Japanese yen. Okay? So you make sure you know when the one currency appreciates against another one, it increases in value, right? Or it could depreciate in value against another currency. Okay? You know what is balance of payments? That's accounting record of transactions between the residents of one country and the residents of the rest of the world. Okay, it's a balance of payments. Okay, and the balance payments, there are two types of accounts, right? Current account and capital account. What's current account? Trade. Okay, trade and unilateral transfers. Okay. Capital account, investment. Okay, long-term investment especially. We talk about how exchange rate is affected by imports and exports. Okay? And if you recall, I talked about how excessive imports will weaken your currency, and why excessive exports will strengthen your currency. Okay? Make sure you know the reason behind that, the rationale behind that. Also, the inflation rate. With high inflation, your currency is going to be weaker. Okay, If low inflation will make you keep your currency stronger, right? We talk about the investors and the speculators. Investors, the speculator that may do something to attack the currency and make it appreciating or depreciating. Excuse me. Get some water. And also government actions. Government actions affecting the exchange rate. Okay? Soft currencies. And you know what is hard currency and what's a soft currency? Hard currency is that the freely exchangeable currency of the most developed countries, major economies. Dollars, US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, British pound, Australian dollars, Japanese yen are considered hard currencies. And soft currencies are the ones of smaller, less developed countries. Okay? The governments of these countries may determine the exchange rate or manipulate the rate. And you know what is dollarization by countries like Panama, not Ecuador. Panama and Ecuador, they basically adopted dollars, US dollars, as their currency. So the pros and cons of dollarization. Okay? They gain monetary stability because the dollar is not really their currency, right? So US dollar is strong or stable, their monetary situation is stable, but they don't have the flexibility. Yeah, that's a downside. There are agencies promoting economic and monetary stability. Make sure you know what IMF is, International Monetary Fund, okay? World Bank, okay? G7 or G8 or G20, MFN, Most Favored Nations, GATT, General Agreement of Trade and Tariffs, which are replaced by WTO. Okay? You should know all those acronyms. Protectionism and trade. You know, what is tariff? Tariff basically taxes on import and export. Tariffs, taxes on trade. Okay, what is a quota? A quota, okay, was orderly marketing arrangements. That's voluntary export restrictions. And you need to be able to come up with some examples of non-tariff barriers. Barriers to trade, but not tariff. That's why it's called non-tariff barriers, like such as what labor requirement, local component requirement, work permit, etc. Okay. Different types of regional economic integration. Okay, and how do countries form or integrate their economies, regionally or globally? Okay. You normally start out with the free trade area, okay? Then you form customs unions. Then you form common market, and then you completely integrate your economies. Okay? EU, European Union, and Euro. Can I picture that? The next chapter we talk about the culture. What's culture? The entire heritage of a society, right? Everything, all our cultural heritages in society, all the elements of culture, traditions, morals, habits, religions, arts, social systems, and of course, language, okay? The part of culture. Definition of culture. Collective programming of the mind that distinguishes the members of one category of people from another, one country, one culture from another. Okay, by Geert Hofstede. Okay. Layers of culture. There is a national culture, there's regional or ethnic culture, there's religious culture, linguistic culture, there's a gender culture. Men and women are different. Right? There is a generation culture. Older generation, younger generation are different. Yeah. Social classes, high class culture, middle class culture, or low class culture. Okay. There is also corporate culture or organizational culture. Yeah. Cultures at different layers. Yeah. Major cultures of the world include Western culture, Orthodox culture, mostly in Greece, and Russia. Okay. Confucian culture in China, Chinese diaspora. There's Islamic culture that's in many of the Arab countries and Southeast Asian countries. There's Hindu culture in India, Latin American culture in South America, African culture in Africa, and Buddhist culture in many Southeast Asian countries. Okay, that's the major cultures of the world. Then we talk about the families, nuclear family. What's a nuclear family? Yeah. Household size going down in US and Europe, and in some many Asian, Eastern, Northeastern Asian countries as well. Okay. What is extended family? Nuclear family versus extended family. Okay. And the roles of male versus female is changing. Okay. Beyond family, we talk about the high trust versus low trust societies. Yeah, high trust versus low trust society. We talk about attitudes of time, the attitudes towards time, right? Monochronic, you do one thing at a time. Polychronic, you do many things at a time. Okay? We talk about temporal orientations, past orientation, present orientation, and future orientation. Okay? Where do you look? What do you see as the most important? Things in the past, or things at present, or things in the future. Okay? Then also the work and balance of work and leisure times in different cultures. We also introduced the definitions theory of Hofstade's measurements of Hofstade's dimensions of culture. Right? Make sure you know what is power distance and what is individualism versus collectivism, what is masculinity versus femininity, okay? And uncertainty avoidance. The four major dimensions of culture that defined by Hofstede and that we talked about. Okay? Language communication, the forms and the way of addressing, context of culture, context of language, yeah, low context versus high context cultures, yeah. And showing emotions. Some cultures very effective, some more neutral. Okay, translation and back translations. Then we talk about the host country versus home country. What's the host country? Okay, what's the home country? Okay. Then we talk about political motivations for host countries. What is the reason the governments get involved in business? Right? It could be because of their desire for self-preservation, to protect their own power, stay in power, for security, national security, okay? For prosperity, good life, better life, for prestige, right? To protect their culture, for some doctrines or ideologies held by the elite, okay? Or by cultural identity, to provide or to protect their cultural identity. Okay? Host country actions that may affect the business, government subsidies, subsidize their own companies, okay? Restrictions on ownership, okay? Issue working conditions, issuing work permit or not, local contents requirements, to the operating conditions. Okay? What is takeover? Right? Foreign government may take over your business. Right? In taking over, there are two situations. expropriation and confiscation. Expropriation is a takeover that at least they pay you something. Will they pay 10 cents, 100 cents on the dollar? Of course not. 10 cents, 50 cents on the dollar, maybe. Okay? Confiscation, no compensation. You lose everything. International legal traditions, common law system versus code law system or civic law system. Common law, US, UK mostly, and code law or civil law in continental European countries. Islamic law and socialist law. Human nature orientation, which is positive versus negative. Human nature orientation. Okay? Attitude toward rules. Attitude toward rules different. Okay? Tight culture versus loose culture. Tight culture, loose culture. Okay? Then we talk about managing regulatory change, regulatory decisions of the host country government. Yeah. We talk about 4 strategies of dealing with that: alter, avoid, exceed, and ally. Okay, make sure you understand all of them. Okay, alter, you want to change it. Avoid, you want to bypass it. Exceed, you comply with it. Ally, you form alliances to try to overcome that. Okay. Then we talk about the regulatory change versus political risk. Regulatory change is minor, it's easier to deal with, and could happen very quick. Political risk is major, could be more violent, more disruptive, more damaging. Risk reduction strategies, how to share risk, right? How to minimize risk, assets at risk. Remember I talked about minimizing assets at risk. How to do that? Borrow locally. Borrow locally is one way for you to minimize your assets at risk. Insurance. Buy insurance.